Have you ever looked at Amazon and just thought, man, I completely missed the boat on that one? Or maybe you tried once, it didn't work out, and now you're thinking it's just game over. Well, we're going to break down exactly why it is not too late and how a really simple shift away from the old, broken methods can totally unlock your potential. Let's get into it. This is the big one, isn't it? It's the question that stops so many people before they even start. You see this like ocean of products, all this crazy competition, and that little voice in your head just whispers, is there even room for me? It's a totally fair question, and we are going to tackle it head on. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the dream versus the reality of Amazon. Then we'll dive into a cautionary tale about the saturated market trap. From there, we'll look at a powerful pivot to passion, build out a whole new playbook, debunk all those hurdles holding you back, and finally, map out your path forward. Okay, let's get real for a second. The Amazon dream, and then, well, the reality. If you're even thinking about launching a product, chances are you're hitting some very common and very real mental roadblocks. Yeah, these are the big five, right? That gut-wrenching fear of failure, the feeling that every market is already jammed-packed, the idea that you need a mountain of cash just to get started, and of course, the super confusing Amazon fees and the looming threat of a recession. Don't worry, we're going to take every single one of these fears apart, piece by piece. So to really get why the new way works, we got to look at why the old way is such a disaster. And there is no better way to see that than with a real-world story, a $10,000 lesson in what not to do. So what was the product? Generic sleep masks. You've seen them. This is the classic private label trap. Find a popular, simple product on a site like Alibaba, slap your own logo on it, and just hope for the best. It sounds so easy, but trust me, it's a trap. Following this easy path led to an investment of over $10,000. That covered everything: 1,000 units, logos, fancy packaging, a trademark, even a website. This was a huge all-in bet on a totally generic product. And the result, after 5 long months, just $52 in revenue. No, that's not a typo. $52. A $10,000 investment for less than what you'd spend on a decent dinner. I mean, this just perfectly shows the massive disconnect when you try to compete in a saturated market. So what the heck happened? Well, this quote right here says it all. When you're selling basically the same thing as hundreds of other sellers, the only thing you can compete on is price. It becomes a race to the bottom, and your product just becomes invisible in a sea of lookalikes. But here's the thing, and this is so important. That failure, it wasn't the end of the story. Not even close. It was a $10,000 education that forced a total rethink and ended up revealing a much, much smarter way to succeed. So the new product was a complete 180. Instead of some generic, soulless item, this was something personal, born from faith and experience, Bible-themed coloring and activity books for kids. It was for a very specific community that was looking for this exact thing but couldn't really find it. And here's the secret sauce, the launch method. By using Amazon's KDP, or Kindle Direct Publishing, there was zero, and I mean zero, upfront inventory cost. See, Amazon only prints a book after a customer buys it. This one move completely wiped out the huge financial risk that crushed the sleep mask business. Now, this success story isn't just a feel-good story about someone getting lucky. No way. This is a blueprint. So let's break down how this pivot from a generic item to a passion product becomes a repeatable playbook you can actually use to win. This slide really breaks it all down. The old way is all about generic products, which leads to these brutal price wars and just massive financial risk. The new way, it's about creating niche products for a specific audience. That lets you price based on value, and it dramatically lowers your risk. And this isn't some one-off thing. This strategy is working all over the place. I mean, look at these examples. Electrolytes specifically for people on a carnivore diet, clove water for a super health-conscious crowd, the KDP books we just talked about, or even cocktail recipe cards that were fully crowdfunded before a single one was even made. These are all passion products solving a specific problem. Okay, so now that we have this new playbook, let's circle back to those 5 big fears we started with. Let's see if they still look so scary now. First up, startup costs. Everyone thinks you need a small fortune, right? Like 50 grand or something. Just forget that. Look at this. The old way, the sleep mask way, yeah, that's $10,000 easy. But a focused passion product, you could get that going for around 2 grand. And a digital KDP product, you could literally start for as little as $300. The barrier to entry is so much lower than you think. Okay, but what about those pesky Amazon fees? We all know Amazon takes their cut, right? It's around 15% plus other fees. Now, if you're in a price war, yeah, those fees will eat you alive. But here's the key. When you have a unique niche product, you're not fighting over pennies. You can set a premium price that people are happy to pay, which easily covers the fees and leaves you with a healthy profit. And the big one, what about a recession? It's a scary thought, but let's look at the facts. Back during the 2020 lockdowns, a time of massive uncertainty, e-commerce didn't shrink. It exploded. It grew by over 43%. The reason is that niche brands build a real connection with their customers, who keep buying what's important to them, even when times get tough. All right, so we've smashed the myths, we've laid out the new game plan. Now, let's pull it all together into a clear path you can actually walk down. And it really all just starts with a simple shift in how you think about this. So here it is, the new playbook in 4 easy-to-remember steps. 1. Find a gap in the market using actual data. 2. Validate your idea before you go all in. 3. Serve a specific audience, not just everybody. And 4. Start small with a low-risk model like print on demand, and then scale up what works. And as you start thinking about all this, just keep this quote in your head. That $10,000 sleep mask business, it wasn't really a failure, was it? It was a lesson. Every single time you try something, you either win or you learn. The only possible way to fail is to just quit. So when it all comes down to it, the question isn't, is it too late to start on Amazon? That's the wrong question. The real question you should be asking yourself is this: what problem, what community, what interest are you passionate enough about to build something for? Because your answer to that, well, that's where your success really begins.